Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are having a terrific Thursday. My name is Danielle Lewis. I am the founder of R.E.A.C.H Empowerment, which is a mental health organization. And we also have Dr. Jessica GREENE, who is a licensed professional counselor of the Grand Strand. We will be talking today about hitting the reset button on your mental health, how to prioritize the second half of this year, and spreading awareness to your life. So we're going to quickly go into our agenda this morning. We're going to talk about how to identify signs and symptoms of anxiety and stress in the workplace. We're going to describe, as an employer, ways you can support your employees' mental health. We're going to reflect on your mental health and the importance of personal accountability, and also describe your vision for the 8 categories of your life to become rejuvenated and motivated. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 5 C's. This is going to be discussion. It's not a debate. We ask that you be calm and curious about the diverse opinions and thoughts and ideas of others. We ask that you be connected and confident by positively engaging and actively participating. And also, lastly, be compassionate by taking care of your needs, learning and emotions. Whenever we do for R.E.A.C.H Mental Health Mondays, we talk about a safe space. So I just want to let everyone know that you have entered a safe space. It's okay to share. You do not have to be afraid. Be confident. We're learning together. We're supporting each other. Okay. So I want to talk about some of the statistics in the workplace. So 40% of adults reported feeling anxious or depressed in February of 2021. 48% of employees say they experienced high to extreme stress over the past year. I would say that I'm probably in that 48%. 100% of employees say that their thoughts of returning to the office bring some level of anxiety. I would have to agree for that as well. And $9,450 is the cost per employee per year in loss of productivity and absenteeism for untreated depression. These are just a few more statistics to be mindful in the workplace. We're not going to touch on all of them, but I really do want to point out in the work environment that only 5% of employees strongly agree that their employer provides a safe environment for employees who live with mental health illnesses. Only 5%. That's not good. We have to be able to cultivate a safe space in our workplace so that people who are dealing with mental health illnesses have an option to come to you and know that they can lean on you for support and understanding. So, symptoms of workplace anxiety. We all know that anxiety is that excessive worry or fear, but symptoms that show up in the workplace include avoiding family or friends, constant worrying, crying, feeling irritable, tired, or tense, feeling like you need to be perfect. Just to kind of throw in, I'm going to be very transparent. I deal with anxiety. I also deal with depression as well. And also, I did in the past, have not now, contemplated and actually had attempts of suicide. Having trouble sleeping, having trouble concentrating or remembering things, losing interest in your work, overeating or undereating. Can I just tell you that when I am having one of those moments, it's hard for me to stay focused. It's hard for me to be around my family and friends. I usually just retreat back into my little dark space. I don't sleep at all. And I'm always eating. Hence why I feel like I need to lose weight. Some red flags a person shows that has an anxiety disorder: a drop in performance, excessive missed days of work, not appearing engaged in work, physical complaints like sweating, upset stomach, not feeling well, and poor job productivity. Okay, so here are some tips and tools that you can use for managing anxiety at work. Adopt healthy habits: eating healthy, exercising regularly, getting enough sleep. I cannot stress the getting enough sleep, even though I don't do that. Be organized. You can form a lot better when you're a lot more organized. Be honest with yourself. If you don't have time to do it, say that you don't have time. Do not take on more tasks that you have room for. That's another problem of mine. I cannot say no. Communicate. It's never a problem to ask for help. I think as women, especially, we have to wear this superwoman cape. We have to make sure that we are being the mom, being the wife, being the daughter, and we don't sit here and say, hey, I need help. We feel like we have to do it ourselves. So just be able to communicate that. Celebrate your success. No one's going to be more proud of you than you. So take a moment to stop and just be proud of yourself and celebrate all the things that you have accomplished. Educate yourself. It's always best to, work on your triggers, feel what you see changes, what happens in your moods, adjust your moods. Just educate yourself on things like that. Get it right the first time. Take a moment to just, instead of doing 15 million things, focus on that one so that you can get it right this time. Spend a little bit more extra time there. Plan and prepare. That's easy. Set clear boundaries. Like I said, I have a trouble saying no. Set those boundaries. Hey, this is what I can do. Don't bring work at home. Leave it. Work is work. Home is home. Stay clear of toxic coworkers. You do not need to be around any negativity, no gossiping. If those people are negative, hey, I just don't want to be there. I'm trying to stay focused. I'm trying to have positivity in my life. Move away from those people. Take breaks when you need to. It's okay to walk, clear your head, do whatever you need to. Tell your coworker or your boss, hey, I just need a second. You don't have to go into a lot of detail, but just take that 5-10 minute break. Tell a coworker you trust. I cannot stress this part enough. It is so important to have a strong support system. That one person or that few people that you can go to and share, whenever you're having a rough moment, those are the people that will uplift you, support you, and really help you not to go on that ledge. Use your time management skills. Time is of the essence. Prioritize. And then work. Just work as easy as you can, best you can. All right, telling your employer. What employers can do to support their employees. So, you can educate about the workforce and your managers. The more visible you make information about mental health conditions like anxiety, the more likely employees will feel psychologically safe in seeking treatment. So that means that if you are very open about anxiety or mental health or depression or whatever the case may be, and it's a safe environment, your employees are going to feel more comfortable enough to say, hey, I need to have this treatment, or hey, can I talk to you about that? If you don't make it visible, then they're going to feel like you're shutting that. You're turning a blind eye to it. Encourage employees to use the employee assistance program. Just reminding employees about the mental health benefits available to them. It's easy. Normalizing anxiety. And then lastly, support managers in supporting employees with mental health services. This includes working with managers on strategies to maintain or to manage with empathy and compassion. And this may not come naturally to all managers, but just remind the managers that having a supportive workplace helps build employee loyalty, dedication, and engagement to perform well for the organization. So it ultimately benefits everyone. All right, and I'm turning it over to Dr. Greene.
Thank you, Danielle, for sharing that insight. And as she mentioned, the importance of hitting that reset button. Right now, we're in July, and I can't believe we're already in July, but we have approximately 6 months left of 2022, and then we're moving on to 2023. So this is a time to hit that reset button. This is a moment where we can transition and focus on our ability to be courageous, our ability to build those connections with our employees and our employers and our managers, and have compassion, listening with intent and listening with purpose. So in this portion, we're already breathing, but we're just gonna breathe a little deeper, and we're gonna focus on us and some things we can do regarding personal accountability. We're gonna focus more on the I and the me versus the they and the us. So when we look at these two pyramids here, the top is gonna have the least amount of concerns, or the least amount of us, if we want to say, and the bottom is going to be your base, which accumulates more of us and more of our ability to be our true authentic selves. So which do you think is right, the left side or the right side? Do you think is give, where we give ourselves to others? Have more so focuses on those results of our actions. Do is doing our actions. And B focuses on our emotions, our thoughts, and our behaviors. So who think it's the give, have, do, or be? Who think it is be, do, have, or give?
I feel like that's more what it ends up being, but not what it should be.
You are correct. You are correct, because we end up giving, and then we're losing ourselves in the process. You know, we give to everyone, and then when it comes to us, we have nothing left. Like, our tank is empty, our battery needs to be recharged, and we have to hit that reset button. So you are correct. This is what, actually happens, but this is what it should be. It should be give, have, do, and be. And the question we have to ask ourselves, who do I need to be? And what do I need to do to have the results I want so I can give back to others and hit the reset button on my mental health? So this is what we're going to focus on today. And we're not going to focus on all four, but the main one we're going to focus on is B, our thoughts, our emotions, our values, and our beliefs. So if we define self-awareness is the ability to take an honest look at your life without self-judgment or self-criticism. And that's what we tend to do more often than others. It is that criticism. It is that sense of perfectionism, as Danielle mentioned, that perception that people have of us. We're always used to, going, doing, and we're not hitting that reset button or even that stop sign. So if we look at life and what creates our ability to be courageous, have connection, and have compassion, and empathy, and vulnerability, these are going to be the 8 pillars of our lives. So we're going to focus on all 8 of these, and then there's an activity that we're going to complete where we can look at where do we fall in these areas. So we have physiological and safety needs, health and work, physical fitness, emotion regulation, medicine and healing, mind and body wellness, and healthy living and energy. And with physical fitness, a lot of times January comes around, and we're ready. It's January. I'm going to, get started on my physical fitness. But that has to be, a year-long, lifelong experience. We have to remember it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's not going to happen overnight. It is going to take time. Also, when it comes to medicine and healing, when it comes to mental health and wellness, there is that stigma. And as professionals, in the workplace setting with EAP or your primary care physician, you have to be open and honest with them. So whenever you do go to your PCP or that EAP professional, it's important that you're open and honest. Because if you're not open and honest, 10 times out of 10, you'll be misdiagnosed because you do not feel comfortable. And if you get in that setting and you do not feel comfortable, that practitioner would definitely want you to say, hey, I'm not comfortable, rather you sitting in that room and you get misdiagnosed and you are given medication that does not work. And then your perception of mental health and wellness, that sense of belonging, that sense of encouragement is gone. Work, career planning, workplace relationships, work-related skills, your management team, leaders in the organization, and being able to come together collectively and come to conclusions. And in the work setting, when it comes to self-awareness, it's okay to ask questions. I'm sure that rather you ask help than you complete a task and you have no idea what you're doing. The simple fact that you didn't ask for help is should be a trigger for them that you don't feel comfortable. There's a gap in that relationship because you do not feel comfortable going to them asking for help. Love and belonging, relationships, parents, siblings, children, parents, extended family, friends in the community, and then with companionship, your significant other, your partner, your spouse, romantic relationships, and intimacy. So with the love and belonging, it's here on the wheel under relationships and companionships, but I also want to place it in work because in the workplace, we have love languages for the relationship, love languages for your kids, but there are also love languages for the workplace. For example, there are 5. So if we look at physical touch, that one's going to be your high fives, your fist pumps. So that employee likes to be recognized in that way. So whenever we do that for them, they see, I appreciate you. Thank you for all you do. It may be words of affirmation. Good job. I like the way you did this. Thank you for doing this because. Whether it's acts of service, and that would be more your community service. There's a lot of organizations and businesses that participate in community service. So that's their niche. So maybe for that employee, allow them to be the leader, for that part of the organization when we're giving back to the community. Receiving gifts. They may like those mugs that say best employee, or that certificate or that plaque on their wall. And then I believe I hit all of them. Then the words of affirmation, we've done that. So it's words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time. So with quality time, you may have that employee who does not like participating in those group settings. They like more of that one-on-one time. For them, they like that intimate relationship. So if you have a question for them, they prefer you not to bring them out or ask them questions in front of individuals, but have that one-on-one time. So, in the workplace and from the business perspective, it's important that you know your employees and be able to identify their love languages. So I will actually put love, belonging needs. I would shift work into that category as well. When it comes to esteem needs, development, intellectual growth, lifelong education, attending those trainings for continuing ed credits, and also coming today and being online with us. So this is an opportunity for you all to gain more insight in mental health and wellness in the workplace because you're not here because you have to be here. You're here because you want to be here. So that's a lot for your organization as well. Planning, financial planning, time management, setting goals. So for setting goals, 1 year is too short. 2 years is too long. I like 18 months because 18 months you can hit the ground running and it's enough time to reach that goal. And mentally, when we hear 2 years, we're like, oh my gosh, that's 2 years. But when we hear 18 months, it's like, okay, that's around the corner. So 1 year is too short, 2 years is too long. So when it comes to goal planning, let's utilize those 18 months. Self-esteem, and I love to see therapy and recovery on here as well under development. So when it comes to planning, which we just reviewed, so let's look at self-actualization and transcendence needs. So recreation, experiences, exploration, rest and leisure, hobbies and sports, traveling, humor, fun, and play, and then culture, arts, and literature. And for recreation, I can say here on the Grand Strand, all those entities listed there are here. So there's no excuse for why we aren't taking, those opportunities, because where we live has all those entities. And then spirituality, your values, your morals, your ethics, your service, volunteering for different organizations, having that love and compassion, and your meaning and your purpose. Because if you have meaning and you have purpose, that can be a beautiful thing. And I like to use an analogy. Sometimes in the workplace, when we're first entering the workplace, we're that caterpillar. But once we are able to, have someone with those great leadership skills, take us under your wings, you can become that beautiful butterfly. So for spirituality, that's what we want for our employees, to go from that caterpillar and turn into that beautiful butterfly. So I am going to give you all a handout. And it's more of an opportunity for us to think about what we want. In order for us to hit that reset button and to recharge, what is it that we can do within those 8 pillars to be able to excel, to be able to move from surviving to living to thriving, to be able to refuel our life, whether it's, with our kids enrolling back in school, we happen to be the nurturer and the caregiver for an adult parent or a grandparent, or even in the workplace, trying to balance that work-life balance. So for here, if you're an energy evaluator, so 1, it's scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. So what I want you to think about is, where do you fall in each of these 8 categories? How charged are you in this area of your life? So for example, when it comes to health and wellness, am I, eating like I should? Am I meal prepping? As far as physical fitness, am I getting that time in, even if it's only 30 minutes? As far as medicine and healing, am I taking care of my mind, body, and soul? And am I living up to that expectation, but that expectation of me giving 100%? Not defeating myself before I even get started. To what extent in this area of my life is fueling me? So where would I put, that 7, 8, 9, 10? What part of my life is like, I got this, I'm good in this area? To what extent are my needs being met in this area of my life? Do I have too much focus on this area? I need to shift it to another area. And then lastly, how fulfilled am I in this area of my life? So our 4 key words: charged, fueling, needs, and fulfilled, in order to hit that reset button for 2022. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, and even if you just want to put the number in that pie, that will work perfect. And then if we have, 2 or 3 people who are courageous enough to share their story as far as where they had their highest category, lowest category, middle category, or explore all areas, that would be wonderful. And just as Danielle mentioned, this is our safe place. So we hope you're able to share that information and be vulnerable this morning. And this is a great activity to even complete again at the beginning of 2023, where we're setting those goals. Because right now, this is where I am, but this is where I want to be. So when we talk about hitting that reset button with positive energy and negative energy, negative mindset, these 2 sides are going to highlight positive mindsets that creates energy, and then negative mindsets that could affect your workforce. It can affect your team. It will affect your leadership in that organization. So our aim is to do more on the left than the right, because the right is going to be, your toxic employee. So to create a positive mindset and have that energy, we want to feel energized. When we get to the workplace and we walk through the door and that person sees us, they know like it's going to be a great day. Versus negative Nancy coming, oh, here she comes, walking past everyone, not saying a word. That's something we do not want. And that actually depletes our mindset. It starts our morning, which we were having an awesome morning, and we go, okay, let me get through the day, and then I'm out of here. So with the depleted employee, it will be that employee that comes to work, do what they need to do, minimal communication, and they're out the door. Effective. Definitely that time management. Getting tasks done the first time on time, ask those critical and crucial questions, versus your ineffective employee. When it comes to timelines, oh, I'll get to it. Very passive. Fulfilled. They enjoy what they're doing. It gives them life, it gives them energy, versus that unfulfilled employee. I'm here to do what I need to do, but I'm always looking for that next opportunity. Inspired. They enjoy the mission of your organization. They enjoy management style. They're inspired by the people around them that brings them life and give them energy, but they also build that connection, and they're able to be courageous when I feel I have a issue, concern here. They have a willingness to receive that help versus holding it in, and then they become that balloon, and that day, the simplest thing triggers them. And not that HR manager or that leadership position employee, they do not, go to them, but it's that employee, their coworker, that makes them upset with the smallest thing, and they explode. So that coworker becomes that innocent bystander. Had nothing to do with that situation, but it just happened. They went to their office, and they were that first contact that just happened to walk in their office and had no idea what was going on. And you talk about morale of that company or the morale of relationship between those two employees. It's definitely going to affect that relationship. Calm versus chaotic. Clear and confused. And with the positive mindset, it creates energy when we have those clear expectations. We know who, what, when, where, and why. Curious. And with the curious, it can, have its positive and negatives with it. Curious, with the curiosity, yes, I'm engaged, I want to learn more. But sometimes we have that curious person who is curious just to gain the information to try to use it in a negative way in the office, opposed to the individual who is controlling. And with the individual who is controlling, sometimes it falls into the realm of someone being a narcissist. This is their world and we live in it. You may have that individual who is controlling, my way or the highway. So it's hard for them to accept change because they're used to doing the same way that it's always been. Confident versus critical. Being courageous versus always having that concern. And having that concern increases that anxiety in the workplace. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if they don't take this? Is there a plan B? Is there a plan C? Is there a plan D? That's very stressful, and it takes a lot of energy. And then we focus on what could have happened when nothing happened. It actually worked out great. So we wasted all that energy about those what if moments, and it took away from us living in the moment because we were so far ahead of ourselves that we missed that opportunity to build those connections and have those relationships with our employees. And then lastly, being connected versus combative. And, between the midst of COVID and things that we have going on right now, seems to be a tough one for individuals because we want to have that sense of being connected. But then when we start building that relationship, we may see toxic behaviors or relationships, and it makes us take those steps back. With that one also, it's going to be important that when we talk to individuals about, our story or sharing information with them, they have to be worthy enough to hear our story. Because some people are not worthy to hear our story. We tell them something, and by the time we get to church, or by the time we get back to work, the entire story has changed. So whenever you're able to build those connections with people, we have to make sure they're not combative. They're worthy to hear our story. And I call them the Fab Five. Because whenever you have more than 5, 6, 7, 8, they can do this. But if you have your Fab Five, we have no one to really chit chat with but that Fab Five. So definitely be mindful of who your Fab Five are. And when you call them, they answer and pick up the phone. Versus those individuals, you know they have that read receipt on, and you text them. So you saw when they read it, but they didn't call you back. So that may not be a person that's be on your Fab Five. So be mindful of who we choose, and make sure they know they're in your Fab Five. So based on what we shared today, I want you to think about these 4 things. I want you to think about, what can you start doing? Is there an area I need to put more emphasis on? Is there an area that I'm giving too much energy to that I need to transfer to another area to be able to find that balance? What's something I need to stop doing? This is something I've been doing. I don't want to change it, but I know I need to change it because it's getting the best of me, and it's giving others the worst part of me physically, mentally, and emotionally. What is something I need to continue to do? So this is something we're doing really, really well. So this is something we gave a 10, 9, 8, or 7 to. So this is something we can continue to do because it's working well. And lastly, what is something that I need to change the way I'm doing it? So it's okay, I'm doing it and it's okay, but I need to do it in a different way in order to get my best self, in order to transition from surviving to living to thriving. And we have to remember too, it doesn't matter who we are or where we come from. Our ability to be successful, our ability to build those positive relationships begins with us. So that's definitely going to be your personal accountability. Again, it's the I and the me, not, the they or them. So I want to leave you with this quote. It says, the most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These persons have an appreciation, a sensitivity, an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep, loving concern. Beautiful people do not just happen. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And our struggles and our adversities actually help create who we are. If we didn't have those, we wouldn't know how to respond or react appropriately to our, children, our parents, in the workplace. So allow yourself, when you have that struggle, do not see it as a defeat. See it as a growth opportunity. And there's a short story about the egg, the carrot, and the coffee bean. And I love this story because it talks about when we hit that adversity, which will be that boiling water. Are you going to become that carrot? When we went in, we were hard and strong, ready to go. But when we hit that boiling water, that adversity, we became soft and brittle. So that's going to be your employee that may isolate themselves, may have that sense of depression, may not feel as if they can speak up and share their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Or are you going to be that egg? When we went in, we were hard on the outside and soft on the inside. And then when we hit that adversity, that boiling water, we became hard on the outside and hard on the inside. That's going to be your employee or your family member who shuts down. They're hard, they're mean, they're agitated, chaos. They love chaos. That's their world. Or are you going to become that coffee bean? When that coffee bean hit that boiling water, it changed its environment. It recreated it. It didn't allow that boiling water to take over. It regrouped. It restated. It refocused. And it was able to focus on those things that they can control and not those things that they cannot control. And that's what we need to do. Focus on those variables that we can control and those things that we cannot control. Just as Elsa and Anna say, let it go. Because we cannot control those things. But we have to focus on ourselves and think about those things we can change, continue, start doing, and stop doing to be our best selves. And those 8 pillars are those entities that we need. And it's a starting point for us to be able to transition through the rest of this year and regroup and, complete this activity again, whether it's at home, in the workplace, for 2023. And we thank you all for listening. And it says, push the reset button for the world. So right now it starts with us here, but our world is broader than this room. We have our homes, we have our community, we have our workplace, we have our friendships. So we hope you are able to use the information that we shared today so you can transition from surviving to living to thriving, to be your best selves, and be able to hit the reset button for 2022.